Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for this new edition of Business Africa. On our show today, we head for Morocco and its potential for African entrepreneurs. We will also follow together the progress of the African digital economy. But first, let's get on with the show with our top stories today. Morocco, the land of entrepreneurial opportunity, a country becoming increasingly attractive to project leaders from sub-Saharan Africa.
The Moroccan state has given us a lot of favors for the creation of companies of small and medium size. We don't want people to look at us as delinquents, and some people think we Africans can't do anything.
How to solve the payment dilemma in Africa? We discovered Diool, a platform that is already seducing some merchants in the economic capital of Cameroon, Douala.
C'est une nouvelle façon plus simple.
It's a new, more straightforward way to make payments more secure, faster, and of course with a completely new and simplified experience.
Simplifié, nouvelle.
Water revolution in eastern Rwanda, where a pumping station has changed the lives of rural populations.
Before, we were often afraid because we had to walk a long way through the forest to fetch water.
Morocco has long been a land of transit for many Africans on their way to Europe. But now the Sharifian Kingdom has become a hotbed of opportunities and investment for young African project bearers. Among them, Lansinet Kemoko Sidibe. Our journalist Sayon Kourma followed this Guinean entrepreneur in Casablanca, who is starting to become quite successful in the production of shea butter and black soap. Take a look. Casablanca, the economic capital of Morocco. The Sharifian metropolis is one of the best in Africa for business. An attractive country, the kingdom became one of the continent's leading destinations for foreign direct investment towards the end of the year 2000. This result is attributed to Morocco's progress in business creation, protection of minority investors, and cross-border trade. Lansinet Kemoko Sidibe is one of the continent's offspring who has succeeded on Moroccan soil as a foreign entrepreneur. This Guinean native runs his own cosmetics processing unit from Casablanca, whose raw materials come partly from his country of origin.
Voilà, c'est beurre de karité de la Guinée.
This is shea butter from Guinea, from Sigiri Cancan. This is from Spain. This is natural coconut oil.
It's mixed.
It's mixed. It's a mix of products because you have argan oils from Morocco. All our products are based on argan oil and shea butter.
Originally a simple itinerant trader in Morocco, Sidibe is now an entrepreneur who sells his product in 15 countries worldwide. The Guinean has quickly made contacts on Moroccan soil, contacts that enabled the young manager to create his company in 2012. This would not have been possible without the openness of his host country towards Africa.
The Moroccan state has given us a lot of favors for the creation of companies of small and medium size. We don't want people to look at us as delinquents, and some people think we Africans can't do anything. So instead of going to Europe, why not set up small businesses in Morocco or our countries of origin? I encourage Guineans every time to create small businesses.
With a current turnover of more than 80,000 euros, this cosmetics manufacturing business is a success. It has prompted the young manager to become actively involved in social work to help some Africans who are victims of the horrors of immigration. 100 or so young people like Ali have been able to find employment thanks to his business.
I was a student, but now I'm not a trainee but an employee. Because it's not easy at all, especially when you finish your studies abroad. There are several factors. First, how to prepare to return home or look for an experience abroad.
And thanks to Mr. Sidibé's company, it has helped me a lot today. The company helps the Guinean community a lot. But not only the Guinean community, but it also helps sub-Saharans living in Morocco, who today have finished their studies and are looking for a place to stay while they prepare for the return to the fold.
And this has been made possible thanks to the policy put in place by the Sharifian Kingdom. Morocco has indeed placed the development of investment flows at the heart of its economic strategy. Hence, a voluntarist policy of promotion of foreign investments. According to this economist, the efforts made in this field have resulted in a very positive outcome.
Morocco today is classified as an emerging country. For several years, Morocco has been qualified by business law organizations. The country has also enhanced investments. They've harmonized the laws to attract talents, but also to attract investments in their country. Before, many used it as a transit country to reach Europe. Some are beginning to realize that Morocco can bring the same opportunity that they seek in Europe. So they settle here and start a business or two, and by luck, some succeed. Then they settle down and make their business flourish.
The kingdom is ranked third in the Middle East and North Africa Global Entrepreneur Index, a ranking propelled by Morocco's capacity to develop new products, encourage the emergence of startups, and integrate the use of new technologies. Another proof is its presence in the top 20 best cost destinations of the Global Manufacturing Risk Index. In other words, Morocco is on the world's radar and a godsend for African investors. Harmonizing competition rules between companies and protecting East African markets from infringement by the end of next year is the goal of the East African Community. The organization signed a memorandum of understanding with the Competition Authority of Kenya. The aim is to work towards common standards covering prices and product quality. A terrestrial fibre optic cable network will link Africa's east and west coasts by 2025. The $320 million project will span across a total of 10 countries. The East-West project results from a partnership between Africa 50 and the MTN Group through its subsidiary Baobab. The aim is to standardize connectivity and to enable everyone, including the continent's most landlocked countries, to participate in the growth of the digital economy. And to illustrate these new possibilities offered by the digital economy, let's turn to Cameroon, where a fintech startup has come to revolutionize financial transactions between merchants, companies and their customers. Cameroonian economic operators who are members of this platform can simplify their various payment methods by a single click. The innovative solution has attracted companies and many investors, as our correspondent Abubakar Siddiq Munchili found out.
After working for a long time in France in the banking and finance sector, Serge Gupta, a Cameroonian from the diaspora, has returned to Africa to contribute to the continent's development. Faced with the difficulties that merchants encounter every day due to the multiple payments issued via a variety of mobile money services and cash or even checks, he and his associate have designed a solution to facilitate the procedures in these transactions with customers.
We have companies that are generally involved in payment aggregation. This means that with one machine or one phone, you can collect payments from MTN, Orange, within the same phone or the same platform.
Du même téléphone ou du même plateforme. Donc nous on a voulu pousser ça plus loin.
We wanted to push this further. As we tried to take it further, once you have collected from the various mobile operators, we allow you to use these funds directly to pay your network of providers.
Ces fonds, pardon, on vous permet d'utiliser directement ces fonds pour payer votre réseau de fournisseurs directement.
And at the end, once you have finished, you can bring back the funds to you.
Remonter les fonds vers vous.
Diool, a name taken from a West African dialect, is the fintech startup he co-founded to bring this innovative solution to these operators on the continent through a platform.
Le nom Diool est né.
Diool was born to represent a product to facilitate financial transactions.
Représenter un produit qui concerne les échanges financiers, et notamment les échanges financiers.
Particularly the financial transactions of merchants.
Une nouvelle façon plus simple de sécuriser ces paiements.
It's a new, more straightforward way to make payments more secure, faster, and of course with a completely new and simplified experience.
Simplifiée, nouvelle.
It is here in Douala, Cameroon, at the heart of the Bonapriso district, that he set up this company in 2015. He dreams of turning it into a vast continental empire. The platform and application he created allow merchants, among other things, to easily accept payments from their customers in a single account, any electronic payment, and to use these funds to pay suppliers or transfer funds. A real revolution in the field of electronic payment.
The fact that you don't handle money anymore, because handling money, as I say all the time, is delicate, even on the reliability of banknotes, because they can give you fake bills. At the end of the day, you realize that you're losing. You have lost a lot of money because you have counterfeited notes. With this solution, the risks are really minimized, because when you make Diool transfers, the client makes the deposit, you initiate the payment, the client validates, so you receive the money instantly, and what is even better is that you can make the transfer from your phone to your bank account. So you don't necessarily have to keep the money on your phone, making all the payments more manageable.
Over the years, the number of business customers of this startup has grown. Past 6 years, more than 2,500 merchants have completed more than $120 million worth of transactions on its platform. In February 2021, Diool completed a $3.5 million fundraising operation. This will enable the company to meet the ever-increasing demand, attract new investors, and face the competition in the digital payment market in Cameroon and the Central African sub-region, with the interoperability now possible between bank and mobile accounts. This investment has made Diool one of the best-funded fintech startups in French-speaking Africa, opening up excellent prospects for conquering the rest of the continent with several strategies already in the pipeline.
We have some strategies that we're working on at the moment, but I think that the general idea is also to approach the large companies so that they bring in the small ones, because obviously we are in a market where sponsorship is valued.
Other important projects await this company, which wants to win the challenge of providing innovative services to a continent in the midst of a digital revolution. Among these challenges are the improvements of the platform's functionalities, as well as the international partnership agreements to be established with partner companies and financial institutions in the various African countries targeted. All this while respecting compliance with the various national regulations.
Welcome to the second part of our show. Good news for Ghana. The country facing a severe economic crisis has finally been granted an extended credit facility of $3 billion over 3 years by the executive board of the IMF. The decision was prompted by guarantees from the country's official creditors. They formed a committee co-chaired by China and France to discuss restructuring the country's debt. One condition, however, is that Ghana's private and other bilateral creditors will also have to engage quickly in negotiations, while negotiations that are expected to be long and complicated. And meanwhile, the World Bank is pounding its fist on the table in the Democratic Republic of Congo. at stake the dissolution by a presidential order of the Social Fund, which was supposed to receive $1 billion in funding, and the creation of another public fund in its place. Faced with the risk of embezzlement, the international financial institution is demanding proof of disbursement of the $91 million already paid out. In the meantime, aid has been suspended, which could affect more than 600,000 beneficiaries. The Congolese government is currently working with the World Bank on transitional measures. Tanzania joins Mozambique in the club of the continent's next big liquefied natural gas producers. The country has just finalized a deal for a $40 billion LNG production facility that has been in the pipeline for several years. A consortium led by Equinor, Shell and ExxonMobil will lead the operation to tap into the country's estimated 57 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves. Let me now take you to the mountains of Rwanda for this report about the difficulties to access drinking water in remote rural communities. Thanks to a pumping station, the inhabitants of these isolated regions in the east of the country have been able to abandon jerry cans, and they are also receiving advice on how to manage this precious resource better, as well as protecting their health. Eric Mourier and Lorraine Raimondi have the story.
This pumping station symbolizes the great efforts made in recent years to improve access to water and sanitation in rural areas of Rwanda. It's located in a virtually inaccessible mountainous area and was completed in July 2013. The African Development Bank financed more than 60% of the project. Today, the station provides water to nearly 50,000 people in dozens of villages in the region. This health centre is in Tumba, a small town about 40 kilometres from the pumping station. The impact of access to water has not only helped healthcare, but also the institution's finances.
In 2010, diseases related to water were the second most common of all those we treated here at the health center. In 2011, they were still in second place. In 2012, we managed to get them down to third most common. And in 2013, when the project became operational and we had access to water, these diseases dropped to sixth place. Today, diseases related to water are in eighth place.
Previously, the health centre had to fetch drinking water from more than 4 kilometres away by jerry can, each costing around 30 US cents.
In 2012, the average water bill was between 48,000 and 52,000. But now the last bill I saw for March is about 9,000. That's the difference.
With access to the network, the costs for water have been cut by almost $70 a year, a very large sum for this small care centre. If the construction of infrastructure is the most visible part of the project, other aspects may be less spectacular but equally important: education and awareness.
We met with the authorities here, the area leader and the local health manager, and they showed me some houses that I hadn't been to, and together we started to educate the people there. We saw that some people were well trained, but others not at all. We talk mainly with the women because their activities are at home and they look after the children. It's easier to address them rather than the men because they understand the hygiene issues we're talking about better. They are more implicated as they protect the family, especially the children.
Women learn to manage water, taking proper care of used containers, storage options, and different ways of using drinking water or water used for washing or cooking. With easy and regular access, the women have to change their habits without neglecting the basic precautions to avoid contamination.
We tell them how to wash with clean water their bodies and hands for good hygiene. We explain how to wash their clothes and how to use the toilet and clean it. How to wash hands after using the toilet, and also the use of soap and the water pump. Toilets must be kept closed and cleaned every time.
Some 250 educators crisscross the area served by the pumping station, visiting more than 500 houses and 100 schools. The training is about how best to wash their hands and the management of latrines. The girls are the first to benefit from these methods. In the past, the lack of hygiene and fear of catching diseases made them avoid school. Not to mention, the daily water chores tended to happen during class.
Before we were often afraid because we had to walk a long way through the forest to fetch water. Alone in the forest, the girls were scared because it took a long time. And it was also very tiring to make this trip backwards and forwards every day. When it was time to go to school, we often used to go and fetch water instead, and we'd miss whole days of class. Now that the water is available nearby, I come back from school and I do my homework. I no longer have to go a long way to fetch water.
All told, more than 600,000 people now have drinking water, and 150,000 others proper drainage, thanks to the pumping station and other infrastructure projects funded by the AFDB. In the north, with its remote and mountainous regions, access to water has meant significant progress in the fields of health, education, and the empowerment of women. Now the goal of Rwanda, supported by the AFDB, is to provide 100% of the population with clean water and proper sanitation.
Well, that's it for today. Business Africa is over. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel for Initiative Africa. I will be hosting Mabinyori Kayode Idowu, an early companion of Afrobeat legend Fela Kuti. In the meantime, you can watch the show on our website, africaonia.com, and follow us on our social media channels. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa. Have a great week, and until next time, goodbye.